traditional versus dynamic.
Tradition does not mean being modern. Meteors or asteroids stay on the space. They are mutually coexistent with the planet Earth.
The future of education.
The world today in the trance stage.
Integrating two worlds together.
Nothing is common. I will be irrelevant.
Connect creativity and include all this in your academic frameworks. Sports, music and art is the new awakening of future education. Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Manav Rachna podcast. I'm your host Akhila Nair, and today we have with us none other than the esteemed research director Dr. Anadajit Goswami. He is also the director of School of Behavioural and Social Sciences. We welcome you, sir.
Thank you, Akhila. Thank you for welcoming me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Sir, before diving into the discussions and everything, I would like to congratulate you for the recent honor you have received, the Global Leadership Award on Sustainability and Energy Policies at the India Business Week 2025. Congratulations, sir. That's huge.
Thank you. I think I'm humbled and touched. It's a journey, not a destination.
Right, rightly put. So, sir, the topic which we are going to explore today is exploring cross-disciplinary ideas and integrating two worlds together, like academic cultures, faculty development, pedagogy into sports, music, and arts. And it's a garnering it's garnering topic. The attention to this topic has increased because of the NEP policy. And I would like to begin this discussion by my first question of traditional versus dynamic. So we have a traditional mindset of how an academic framework should be. So when this sports, music and art is out there, do you think these two worlds can overlap anytime?
We live in an overlapping world, and we live in a world which is more and more getting blurred, and it is breaking the silos. If you don't accept that fact, we all will be dinosaurs. So let's first accept that fact. And finally, it is what? Finally, we live in a world of learning. And all these disciplines, and by the way, I also have a little bit of apprehension. Sometimes we think that tradition does not mean being modern. It's a wrong way of seeing certain things. Modernity is about a concept of mind, which is in tradition, which is also in today's world. So these two should overlap. This should not overlap is a wrong sense of seeing things.
Right.
And this should overlap to get into a foundation discipline of learning and building up a discipline structure. So it is an imperative and necessary condition.
Right. So sir, this brings me to the next question. Like now that the overlapping is happening, these two worlds are colliding together. Do you think they can actually, meaningfully contribute to our traditional mindsets?
Again, I will say that it's not colliding. It's not like a meteorite colliding on Earth.
Right.
It's like meteors or asteroids stay on the space. They are mutually coexistent with the planet Earth.
Right.
How you see it philosophically. Imagine, therefore, you are in a SpaceX station and you're watching the Earth, and there are many asteroids which pass.
Right.
Education has to be seen that way. That when the new times come, asteroids will come, and some asteroids will land up, and that means a kind of a destruction, but it will also lead to creativity. Right. New disciplines will be born, and it is an imperative, as I am saying, that unless and until we are sure and we accept the fact that collision, to me it is an amalgamation and absorption, it happens, you will not evolve.
Right.
So that should happen. I might sound a little bit of structurally breaking the thoughts, but a little radicalization is very important for things to move on. And NEP 2020, even though radical, I think it's very necessary.
Right. Rightly put, sir. Which brings me to the next question, which is very important. We always hear these terms like interdisciplinary, cross-disciplinary. We throw them in research especially So, do you think the relevance of this has increased now, and this is like now the future of education, that everything can be mixed with one another?
So if you read a book called Consilience, which is a very interesting book, so it talks about how the word inter should move to cross and finally to trans.
Right.
I think the world today in the trans stage. The days of inter and cross are over.
Okay.
If you study the educational history post Second World War, the inter and cross disciplinary boundaries have broken. Now we are in a transdisciplinary stage, and unfortunately, India in 3rd century BC was in the trans state already.
Right.
For us, we did the reverse engineering.
Okay.
From trans, we went to a siloed discipline because of educational imperialism and colonization. Now we are breaking it, and it is extremely important. I mean, for instance, if you frankly ask me, I learned mathematics more from my music rhythms while I used to play percussion. I could see mathematical formulas in music rhythms. I could see mathematical formula when I play cricket strokes, the timing of it. So music gives you structure, rhythm, timing. It helps in curriculum design. It helps in your class timing. So I think that's something that I would like.
So this brings me to another important question. Like, one of the hot topics right now in education is student development. Holistic student development is like, call of action. So, do you think like, while we are in a trans, state of education right now, like you put, I would like to know that is it actually meaningfully contributing to a student's holistic development?
I will connect this question to a philosophy in Buddhism. If you have studied Buddhist philosophy, Siddhartha used to say that form is permanent and nothing is permanent. So there is an impermanency in form.
Right.
So holism means to be zero. If you are a zero from inside, you are holistically whole.
Okay.
So you have to be completely non-permanent to be permanent. So in education, every student needs to be grounded and reach that stage of holism. I would rather say, are the faculties also pushing themselves to move towards that holism? Because when faculties and the discipline, the educators move towards that holism, you can inspire a child or an educationist or a child who comes to your classroom to be that holistic whole.
Right.
So it is again a necessary thing, and for that, other pedagogical structures, sports, music, other disciplines helps you to be holistic. Because this is more of a spiritual journey, and just a book or an exam cannot create that impetus of being a spiritual whole.
Right. So sir, like you said, the faculty is also pushing towards, a holistic, that mindset. But, if we face the facts, are like the faculties have, gone through a training, a sort of conditioning, and now that the new education policy has been introduced, so there's a shift in the mindset altogether. So I just wanted to know that how exactly would you connect creativity and include all this in your academic frameworks?
Let me scare you all a little bit in this answer.
Right.
We are living in a world. Few days back, Elon Musk announced AI robotic assistants called Kalina.
Kalina, yeah.
Kalina is doing all the arts related work and cooking exactly like a human. I always imagine I will be irrelevant in the next 5 years, and that's my biggest fear. And my insecurity. I generally don't have any insecurity, but my only insecurity which takes out my sleep at night is not position, but that I will be redundant in the next 5 years if I am not spiritually a different human being. Because the AI and the machine consciousness is going to take over even our class paradigms.
Right.
So if you have to create a friendship, you need to be on the edge and 2, 3, 4 steps ahead of time.
Right.
So for the survival of faculty, the faculties have to come out of certain zones. They have to imbibe other disciplines. They have to imbibe music, sports, technology, machine learning. Otherwise, kids will not listen to you. Kids will have like multiple Kalinas in their life to train them exactly like Dr. Anadajit Goswami. We are going to leave a world where multiple Akhilas will be there. Accept the fact, like the movie Her by Joaquin Phoenix, where there were 200 Scarlett Johansons. So that world is coming very fast.
Right, that is scary. So
That's reality.
that's reality. Parallel realities. Right. So sir, my last question to you is, so, and it's a bit specific now. So now that we have these integrated courses and everything, I would like to know, how exactly universities and institutions have introduced these programs into. Like, we have the conventional courses as such going on, but what is like the new shift that has taken place in the program structures, and what programs are these?
Yeah, I am very inspired by what Manav has been doing in the schools, because I closely have worked with the Manav schools and I've seen, you land up in any of the Manav schools. The way they have designed a creative space where a child from the day one, and I keep on saying to the top management that I wish at 45 I start in my school. Why not there can be an education system in the phase 2, and our honorable VP also is of the same ideation. He also loves this idea. Why can't I start my school at 45?
Right.
And because I feel I'm getting irrelevant for the next age to come. If I have to be relevant, I give you an example of Kalina.
Yeah.
I think I should start my schooling at 45. Again, I should land up in a Manav school and see how music is getting integrated there in the program, how digitally they are empowered than me. So I reboot myself. European universities do that. They're creating a design thinking space where they are allowing the art practitioners to bring in creative expressions and critical thinking into project management. They're creating lab practices where technicians, scientists are talking and understanding from music and other senses. I myself have done many things. I think we are short of time, but otherwise I would have told you one experience of my life where I was propagating climate science through my own songs. So if there is time, I can tell you how the same climate science, I was more successful to communicate through a song rather than a jargonish lecture. So this is a time where science and other disciplines have to talk to each other. People like to live in their silos because human beings are amidst cognitive dissonance, confirmation bias. Human beings are genetically trained to be insecure. But when you have a Kalina knocking on your door, who is far sharper, who is capturing your consciousness, you have no other choice but to break that insecurity.
Right.
And if you give time, I can sing one line to tell you how climate change can be explained through a music.
Of course, we would love to hear you. Yeah.
Unless and until you are getting short of time.
No, please.
So for instance, we were a part of a lot of gender movement. I was traveling in Kashmir and long time back, 2008-9. And at the same time, I was also working on climate activism space. We wrote this Green Day book, which has now come up. So I saw, along with my co-worker and co-artist Saransh, Swaja now. She is now Swaja. From Saransh, she became Swaja. So we composed a song where we, as a metaphor, saw this activism of gender movement, how the same consciousness can be into climate space. So we composed a song like this. बेदाग सुबह सा ख्याल है, जैसे आस भी है और दयार भी, जैसे उठती हो कोई धुआं कहीं, जैसे गश्त भी है गुलशन भी वही, जैसे सीनों में दबी कई मुरादें हैं, अनदेखी जली कई रात है, इंतजार है, इंतजार है, इंतजार है, या कोई मलाल है. So Malal, we saw climate change as a Malays Malal. Right. We are also talking of a hope. We are also talking of a jaded atmosphere, but metaphorically through poetry. Imagine a talk on climate science. Why can't it start with this?
Of course, the expression of poetry is way too powerful.
Because it's intangible. but with a hope.
Yeah.
And that's what thrives education.
Right. So, sir, this has been a fascinating conversation, like absolute delight. Like, I'm truly honored to be here with you and talk to you about this, and like the insights you have shared, that's like amazing and in-depth. Thank you so much for being here, sir. To our viewers, like, keep exploring and keep getting innovative, and keep understanding the different dynamics that's happening out there, because there's a world that you need to explore every other single day. Stay tuned, folks. This is Akhilesh Nair, and with me, Dr. Anadajit Goswami, signing off. Thank you.
Thank you, Akila. Well, it was a nice conversation with your eyes. I'm not talking to you.
Okay. Thank you, sir.